We are going now with a live experiment. I hope this is working. And for everybody who is watching this experiment, I'm excited. And so here we go. Remember, we want to have our water. We want to make sure that we hydrate. We want to drink lots of water during the workout. So have a sip of water before we start if you need to. And again, all the exercises we do here, this is part of a warm-up. It is a great warm-up. It gets our body moving around in a circle. And we're going to start with our head up top. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start to move that head around in a circle. We're looking up. We're tipping our head over to the side. We're bringing it around. And we're moving it all around, kind of using our chin as a guide. And we're going nice and slow. We're not moving it too far over. This is the first exercise. Maybe we reverse directions and we kind of move our head around, kind of bringing our ear to the shoulder and then tucking our chin and then bringing our head all the way around, kind of leaning back with the neck. Nice job. Here we go. Moving around. Let's do one more of these and then we're going to go side to side. Okay. So now I'm going to take my chin. I'm going to move it over this way towards my right shoulder. And I'm going to hold it over here for just a few seconds. And then I'm going to move over this way. I'm just going to turn my chin now. My upper body isn't moving. And I'm just turning my head on top of my neck. And my neck is kind of twisting and my head is turning. And I'm just moving my head from side to side. I'm sitting down. Remember, you can do this standing up, no problem. And we're just going ahead and moving our head side to side. Let's do a couple more of these. And remember, a lot of what we're working on is balancing out that technology time where we're always looking down. So let's go ahead and we're going to look down for about 1 second. And then we're going to look up for about 5 seconds. So let's bring our head down. And then let's go ahead and bring our head on up. And we're going to hold our chin up high, up to the sky, just like that. And then we're going to bring it on down. We're going to tuck that chin again. And then we're going to bring it on up again. We're going to lift our head up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then let's bring it on down. Let's do 2 more of these. We're going to go up. We're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bring it on down for 1 more. Here we go. And we're bringing it up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. So that was moving our head around. We were going up and down, side to side, moving it all around. That's a wonderful job. Now we're going to go to our shoulders. Let's start moving our shoulders around in a circle too. And now when it's facing forward, it's going to look like I'm just moving them up and down. But if you see from the side, I'm going to move my arm all the way around to where there's the back of my shirt. I'm going to lift my shoulder up towards my ear. Then I'm going to bring it back this way. Here's the front of my shirt. And then I'm going to lean it down. I'm going to kind of dip my shoulder. This is my deltoid. Dip it down and then bring it all the way around. So that's what I'm doing with this exercise. And your arms can be bent. They can be even seating on your legs. You can kind of have your hands resting there. But maybe have your hands up. Maybe bring your arms up a little bit. Do a little bit of a shrug. You can have your arms kind of out to the side a little bit, kind of shrugging it around. You have a lot of options with this, with moving these shoulders. Maybe we move them forwards, where we're kind of bringing our shoulders forward. You can see how my shoulders are back. And then I bring them forward in here and then bringing them back. That's great. We want to move them around. Next up, let's go to the elbows. So let's keep this elbow bent right here. We're going to have our hands close to our chest. And let's move those elbows around. Just kind of moving them side to side, bringing them up and down. I talk about how this is kind of like when the bird finds out about its wings and it's kind of shaking off, getting its feathers ready. And we're just moving our arms around. I'm going to go backwards now. This is also like the kayaker. When we're moving the kayak around and we're doing the kayak paddle, this would be kind of paddling and moving the kayak backwards. Now I could do this with even just one arm, where I could bring it around just like this. I can move it around. I can do the other arm by itself too, where I can move it around. And that's going to be great for stretching a lot of the muscles of our core, in addition to moving around our shoulder, moving around our deltoid, moving around the muscles of our rotator cuff and our upper body. A lot of muscles up here, a lot of important stuff. We want to move them around as best we can. Let's go ahead and get those arms out to the side. So now we're just moving our arms out here. And this is the big arm circle. A lot of us have done this for a long time. We got to keep those arms out and kind of, you can bend at the elbows, or if you can, try to outstretch your arms, almost as if you're reaching out as far left and as far right as you can. And let's do them on the side. Maybe let's go up overhead. So now we're doing an overhead arm circle where my hands are over my head and my head's looking right at the screen and my shirt's right facing you, but my hands are up high. My head's in the middle of my hands up above my head, and I'm making a circle going around and around. How about right in front? Holding our arms out in front of our body. All right. And we're just moving them around and around. And we can switch directions. Look at that. You can do a switch. You can bring it around. You can go whichever way you want, whichever circle. You can try one going one way and one going the other way. And this can get a little tricky, but again, it's kind of fun. And then you can switch them up. Oh, it's kind of fun. All right, so that's going to, again, work out our shoulders and get our upper body warmed up really well. Let's now think about getting our torso warmed up. So I like to think about above the belly button, and I'm just moving my upper body nice and slow. I'm trying to make some space for my ribs, for all the muscles in my ribs. I might lean forward. I might twist to the side and twist side to side. I might move and kind of try to get my elbow over my other leg over here and just twisting side to side, moving around, stretching the upper body. And again, thinking about having muscle control above the belly button, moving that torso. Let your shoulders in your head kind of lead the way, but don't let all the muscles totally relax. Kind of use them and move them. And then we're going to get into the full body circle here in just a second. So I'm going to move my chair back here. Let's go ahead and get set up. And so with the full body circle, remember, if you're standing up, I want you to try to bring your chest down to your leg, and you're going to move all the way around, going up in your seat. You're going to sit down again. You're going to lean forward and move the chest forward to the leg, and then move over to the other leg and bring yourself up. If your legs are close together, I want you to think about maybe trying to bring your shoulder down on top of the opposite side leg, and then just kind of move over. So now this shoulder is over the opposite leg, and then we're going to lift up. All right. Remember, if you're standing up, I want you to think about keeping the knees bent while you're doing this exercise. And so we're going to bend the knees, and we're going to bring ourselves down real low as if my chest is touching my knee, and then I'm going to bring myself back up, standing up again. So I'm going to go around and moving up and down and trying to get myself as low and bending my legs, using the muscles in my legs, getting my legs strong, and then coming back up and going around again. So moving it around, going all the way around, down, starting to let myself relax, taking some deep breaths, and just moving my body, again, bending at the hips and bending at my knees and letting my body come all the way around and waking up kind of all the muscles that are in my upper body. Great job. Nice. Now, the next thing we want to do, let's go ahead and do the overhead reach. So we moved our head, we moved our shoulders, our elbows, our arms, our upper body from the waist up. Now, let's go ahead and move our hips. But let's do it in a bending fashion. So let's reach over our head and let's kind of bring it back here. So I'm using my right hand, reaching over my head and then bringing it back. And it's like I'm trying to go to the left side of my body, but I'm reaching over my head. And if I had to compare this to, remember, this is kind of like that teacup where you're tipping over and you're using your obliques to stretch over here on this side. And then over here, you have a lot of stability going on to keep your body from bending over too far. So it's a wonderful exercise. If you want to use your other hand, you can put it on your hip and maybe reach out as far as you can. Let's do one more going this way. Tip, and then we're going to switch out. So now I'm going to put my hand on this hip, And if I was sitting down, remember, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reach over my head, and then I'm going to come back to my start position. So I reach over, coming back right here, reaching over. And you don't have to reach too far. If you want, you might just reach a little bit. You might reach then a little more the next time around. You might decide that I'm going to really commit for it. And maybe there's something that you can lean into or you can touch, and it's going to help you stretch. And then we'll bring it back up. Let's do 3 more going this way. Lean and stretch. And I'm leaning and stretching. And even if my legs, if I have my feet side by side, I might only tip so far for stability. If you have something you can lean into, it's going to allow you to maybe stretch a little bit further over. And you got to use that lean because we need to develop the strength in these muscles. Good job. All right. The next thing we're going to do is let's do the knee tap, elbow tap. So remember, if you're sitting down, I want you to think about tapping your elbow. We're going to reach up high and do an elbow tap. Reach up, do an elbow tap. If you're standing up, we're going to do a knee tap. And maybe if you want, you can also do the elbow tap. So here we go. We're going to do 20 in 3, 2, 1. So let's go. Knee tap, elbow tap. Knee, elbow. Nice. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Try to reach high. 7, 8. The higher you reach. 9. The more core. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Reaching up, giving a tap on my knee at the top. Oop, I missed. Here we go. 18. I got to redo it. 19, 20. Great job. Remember that knee tap, reaching up. The longer we hold ourselves up in this balanced position, the more training we get from the feet all the way up through the body. And so that's what we want to do. We want to be strong on 1 foot as well as 2 feet. If we're sitting down, we want to have a strong core foundation. So it's important that we also think about moving our body and trying to move our hips and move the bones inside of our legs to be able to create a movement in the upper body. So if you're sitting down, I want you to think about maybe if you can, I want you to try to move your legs from side to side on their own. Now, if you want to help your legs with your hands and kind of maybe give them a little bit of a lean to the left and a lean to the right, we're really focused on moving the femur that's in our hips. And so by moving the knees and moving the upper leg, we're going to be able to create some mobility maybe and create extra flexibility in the upper body. And so if I want to even move around, I can move my upper body. I might lean one way and feel that if I lean over, I'm also getting to move my legs as well. Now, if you're standing up, I want you to think about, again, maybe moving your knees just side to side, real nice and gentle. And you can see if I had my center line, my knees would be on the side of it here, and then going over to the other side over here. And so again, just moving my knees back and forth. If I want to move them around in a circle to where my knees go forward and backwards, and I'm really moving myself around on my ankles, you can do this. And because not only are you going to work out your ankles and your knees, but your hips as well. And so it's important that we get all 3 dialed in. If we're upright and if we're moving around, we want to make sure that we have a good connection and we have good joints between the ground connection and our hips in this region here, because then it goes into the core, and then the core are really our central part. That's why we call it the core. All right, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to move our hands, and we're going to think about, remember the turntables that we've had before on the workouts. So where we're going to take our hands and kind of move them around, moving our hands around. Maybe we have an open hand, totally open, maybe opening our hands and really stretching out our hands. That's a great exercise, because again, if we're on the phone a lot, then we're not doing this, and we want to do this. We want to stretch our hands out, move our hands around in a circle, maybe a closed fist circle. And so I got one fist moving right now, and I'm really moving it at the wrist. I have my hands and my thumb pulled in, my fingers and my thumb, and I'm moving my hand around the wrist. I'm going to move the other one in a circle too. I can also open them up, but we want to think about all the directions that our hand can move at the wrist. And we want to train as many as we can, even some that are causing difficulty. We want to slowly try to introduce that mobility and that range of motion. Now, if you're standing up, I also want you to think about your ankles. So if you're sitting down, I want you to keep moving your wrists around nice and slowly. Also maybe work on doing an up and down motion. One of our team leaders has shared with us, this is a great way, just moving your hand up and lifting it up, doing the flexion and extension. It's a great exercise to do. And maybe we also do that with our feet, to where we're lifting our foot down and up and bringing the foot up and then pushing it down. If you want to hold on to a chair, if you want to hold on to something, you have to lift your foot up high. It's even sitting down. If you can move your feet, I want you to try to lift your foot up, lift your toes up, your toes down, lift them up again, and maybe even just top of your shoe, and then push them down into the bottom of your shoe. I'm going to switch feet, and I'm going to do a couple circles with my foot to where I'm moving my foot all around in all kinds of directions at the ankle. I'm also lifting it up and down. So I'm doing an up and down lift, plantar flexion, and dorsiflexion. Then you want to plant that foot down and press it down into your shoe, and maybe pull toes up, lift them up, and then push them down. And you want to have great control over your hands and your feet, because like I always say, they're the first points of contact, the feet and the hands. And so we want to make sure that we have the best connections with our feet and with our hands that we can, so to make sure that when we are making contact with other things, that it can be the best it can be. All right, the last thing we want to do is we want to move our eyes. Let's have a sip of water before we get started. All right, great. Remember, drinking a lot of water in the workout. That's a big part of the exercises. Let's go ahead and working on our eyes. And what we're going to do, we're going to work on looking straight up. So right now I'm looking right at you, right here on the screen. And then I'm going to go ahead and keep my face right where it is. And I'm going to bring my eyes looking up. So I'm looking up at the top of my hat up here. I can see my finger right about there. It goes out of my view, but I'm looking up. And sometimes you want to try to find an object or something that you can look up at. I'm looking up now at a painting, and now I'm looking up at the ceiling where it comes together with the wall. Okay, now I'm back at you. Now I'm going to look over here towards my left. So I'm going to keep my head straight, and I'm going to just move my eyes to the left side, trying not to move my head, trying to control my eyes and use the muscles in my face and use the muscles of my eyes to be able to control them. And look over here to the left, I can see my fan, it's not spinning, and I can see the other bright white light over there that's lighting up the screen behind us. All right, now I'm looking right back at you. Okay, now we're going to look back, we're going to look down for the first time. Here we go. So we're going to go ahead and look down with our eyes. So first I'm looking at you. Now I'm going to move my eyes down, and I'm looking straight down at the paper that's below me here. And it's tough. It's tough not to want to tip my head down, but I'm going to try again. I moved my head, and now I'm looking down. I'm trying to, if I can use my eyes for vision, I'm trying to work on my focus, and I'm reading some notes that I put down there. And again, this is all about working out our facial muscles and working out our eyes and having muscle control. Last direction we need to look is over to the right. Let's go ahead, and I'm looking at you right now. Now I'm looking over towards the right. I got my fish tank over there, but I got a really bright white light. It's making it so I can't really see the fish tank, but I can hear it over there, and I can see it over there. And I'm looking in that direction, trying not to turn my head. Oh, I'm going to turn my head this way, and I'm still looking that way. I can still see the fish tank. All right. And again, having that eye control, having that muscle control, that's what these workouts are all about. Remember, we did, starting with our head, we moved our head all the way around. We went side to side with our head. We went up and down with our head. We moved our shoulders around. We moved our elbows around. We moved our arms around. We moved our upper body. We moved our entire body. We moved our hips, our knees, our ankles, our wrists, our fingertips. We wiggled our toes. If you didn't wiggle your toes right now. Give everything a wiggle. All right. And then let's give a big high five because you did a great job. You were here for this workout. You did your warm up and now you can practice it. You can get better and better at it. And there's going to be more of these to come. So this is just the beginning. This is our circles warm up. We're moving around in circles and we're trying to balance out all the forward and backward of day-to-day life. We're trying to balance that out with twisting and rotation and letting our body just stretch and letting it breathe and move. And that's what we want to accomplish with this. So great job, everybody. And I will see you very soon. Here we go in 3, 2, 1.